that's what our bonus episode is going to be about, is bird-o-mancy.
Bird-o-mancy.
So when did you, was it the moment with after you were like, okay, husband, that's an egg, whatever we're going to do. I love you. I guess we're buying an incubator. Was it then that you started that journey with divination with birds, or what?
No, I got into the more mystical, spiritual aspect of birds pretty much after I ended up running out of material to write about with the practical aspect of birds. Because I wrote all this stuff about geese, about how to care for them, my experience raising them, my insights. And then that got published into a book with my co-author, Aaron von Frank. He did most of the editing, and he actually is responsible for getting the book to publish, or for publishing it, self-publishing it on Amazon. But anyway, I just simply run out of material to write about. And I thought, what else is interesting to me about birds, like other than, and I started kind of going back a little bit and remembering all the magic and mythology and things that I loved when I was younger, that I'd kind of, I don't know, gotten too practical to care about so much anymore. And so that kind of started that process. And then I had a conversation with Rachel White, and she had me on her podcast I think it was last year, to talk about ornithomancy and birds as well. And when I told her the egg story, her first comment was like, that's fairy stuff. And I hadn't really thought about it that way ever. I mean, it had been years since we'd found that egg. I say we, my husband found that egg on the pond. Yeah. And I hadn't really made the connection. And she said that, and I kind of, this light bulb kind of turned on, and I went, oh, wow, that really did start everything. And I never thought of it as a fairy gift. And I don't know that I still think of it, or even now if I think of it that way, but it was certainly a gift. I don't know who or what from, but it started something for sure. So once that light bulb went off and I was already kind of interested, I thought, okay, there's something more here I need to get into. And so it was just sort of a natural progression of, as you explore birds through myth, you realize that birds have been an immensely important spiritual aspect for all cultures all over the world. Since really time immemorial, birds are associated with the creation of the universe. They're associated with bringing messages from the earth to the heavens. I mean, they are literally liminal creatures, right? They can go through all elements, and especially water birds, right? They also have the added superpower of being able to swim in water. They're all elements. And then it was just kind of paying attention, I think, as so many things are in this sort of world of woo, right? It's really more of an attention thing. Are you paying attention? Because you don't have to do anything special to get messages. You just have to pay attention and be open to receiving. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So with ornithomancy is considered sort of a Roman practice. But there's, it was believed that it actually started in, why am I blanking? It's modern day Turkey, but Anatolia. Anatolia is the, I had to think, I was like, it's the name of a dog, Anatolian Shepherd. Anatolia is modern day Turkey. It's believed that
it's not Final Jeopardy. I didn't know,
Anyway, they were more concerned with actually less the type of bird. They often used hawks, vultures, eagles in their divination, mostly because they were more rare to see than songbirds. So seeing them was sort of a special thing, right? And also they're just a lot more visible, even in a distance. They're much more visible to see, much more deliberate in their flights. And for them, it was really more the direction of the bird A bird flying from right to left is considered auspicious, and from left to right inauspicious, or something happening on the right side of you is auspicious, left side inauspicious. So in that way, they kind of use birds as this, almost like you'd use a pendulum or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
is that swinging?
Yeah.
Which direction? Yes or no, right? And same, they use that a lot in Kabbalah as well, in Kabbalistic literature. The direction of the flight of the bird is considered important. Also, listening to their cries, their tonality, the number of cries, where they're perched. You can take note of where they're perched. And in Kabbalah as well, it was, again, right side considered auspicious, left side more of a sort of bad omen or inauspicious. And then in bird medicine, which is, when I say bird medicine, I'm referring to more of a Native American spirituality around birds. There's the medicine wheel concept, and there's a medicine wheel concept specifically for birds. So it's a directional compass, right, for birds.
Oh.
So
That's pretty cool. I never heard about
That's
that
really
before.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the north, and it's my understanding is that the directions are governed by specific birds. You got the north is governed by the eagle, the east is governed by the hawk, the crow or the raven is at the south, and the west is the owl. And then when you understand sort of what those birds represent within that culture, that kind of gives you an idea of what the message of a bird might be, especially so the way I use it, right? And I'm not indigenous at all. I'm not Native American, so this is not my tradition. But the way I've kind of used it for myself in conjunction with this idea of right to left or left to right flight is, okay, if I see the flight of a bird coming from the east, and the east is governed by the hawk, right? Then what does that, can I take the combination of that, the type of bird, the direction it's coming from, and the meaning or symbology of the bird that governs that direction? And is it coming from my right or my left? And how can I kind of filter all that information through the lens of something more on my right side, maybe more of a positive reading, so to speak, and something happening on my left side or coming from my left side is maybe more of a, I don't know. I don't like to use the word like, I don't know that I actually believe, I'm going to be honest. I don't know that I actually believe in bad omens or negative messages.
It's just information.
It's just information, but maybe more cautionary, right?
Yeah.
Similar in the way I'm not great at tarot, but from what I understand, the way people interpret tarot a lot, right? There's any of the cards, it seems like you can interpret in a positive or negative kind of way.
Absolutely.
And it's up to the person that's receiving the message to decide how that to kind of use their intuition, decide how that is applying to their life, like what's going on in my life where this makes sense. Because I think going back to the subconscious, a lot of what all of this symbology is doing, getting us to get some information out of our own subconscious, getting us to get our own information out of ourselves.
You're sparking thoughts.
You are.
You know,
well, but also it's not like I just literally read something the other day that kind of blew my mind, because I've always loved to have a tarot reading done for me, but I've never felt like, well, who needs to come forward to give me the right cards and how do I read them? And then I read somewhere, it's just asking your higher self for guidance. And we do it in a myriad of ways. And for some people, pulling a card, that's your higher self saying you need guidance for the day, for this answer, for this prognosis, for whatever the thing is. And so saying, I'm going to look at the birds and have them give me some guidance. And it's my higher self. It's my higher self and me that are communicating through this. However, the medium is like with the birds, my dad came to me before he had even passed away. He was very ill, but he was talkative. He's lighting up my text thread still a bit. He was in the ICU. And I was like, I need a message from the universe to know that my dad's going to be okay. And I'm like sobbing and I'm having this moment in my kitchen. And literally, a hummingbird is just tapping on the glass in my kitchen. And so I was like, oh, he's going to be just fine. So then I went down and I was with him during the last days of his life in the moment that he passed. And I come home and there were two dead hummingbirds to my shock. So that's what reminded me of you telling your story of the nuthatch. But these two dead hummingbirds on my patio, right where that original hummingbird had been, tapping for me. And I'm like, oh my God, Dad, are you okay? And then I just was like, what is this? Then I did research, and with the Tibetan Book of the Dead, there's a certain number of days that the soul needs in order to actually cross over to the new place. Well, sure enough, put a pin in that, because exactly that day, two hummingbirds came to my kitchen window, the same kitchen window. So I had my confirmation that, oh, he had gone through the process that had worked for him. And there were two hummingbirds. So he had lots of company over there, which my dad is a very social person. So I think that, it takes the mysticism out of it in a way to say, whatever your medium is, it could be, I'm looking for signs in the weather or with birds or with this or with that. And all of those things are true and real, but it's really the communication is between your higher self and you. So I don't know. It took away all the mysticism of the whole thing with me of like, am I worthy? Am I going to miss the signs? It's like, I probably miss the signs 9 times out of 10. But then the 10th time, my higher self's like, here, you can't miss this. And I get it.
Kind of going off of that too, I think we can get a little wrapped up in, oh, what does this symbolize? What does this symbolize? What does it symbolize? Rather than really learning from our environment and learning from, so much of learning about what a bird might mean, right, is really, to me, almost less about symbolism, but like, so back up. So birds are not symbols, right? They are living, breathing, autonomous creatures. they're and one challenge with using birds as sort of divinatory mediums is that they come and go when they want to. They're not a deck of tarot cards.
Yeah.
And with declining bird populations, they're seeing birds as more and more rare, right? The question for me with birds in particular, and I think this can maybe be applied to a lot of things, is the question's not what does this bird represent? Because I think that actually we lose kind of the wonder with that question. And I kind of wrote about this in one of my Substack articles also, which I'll link below. But I'm going to pull up this quote because I love it so much. I don't know. Are you familiar with the podcast, The Emerald?
No.
Oh my gosh. You got to listen to The Emerald. Josh Shree.
I'm writing it down now.
Yeah. He's an animist. He's a mythic. He's an expert on myth. Like, he's a storyteller. He's this phenomenal storyteller. The podcast is less a podcast than it is just this phenomenal work of art. It's a production. Like, it's gorgeous.
Wow.
But he has an episode on the Emerald about birds and flight. And he has this quote that I really love. I highly recommend it. Maybe we can even link it here.
I will. I'll link it in the show notes for sure.
It's like meditative. It's such a great episode. But he has this quote within that episode, and he says, in relation to this question of like not treating birds as just symbols, as like symbology and what they represent in my life, but to rather have this perspective. Okay, he says, to sing of the falcon is not to sing about something. It is to invoke the falcon, to feel the falcon, to become the falcon. The question is not what the eagle in the story represents. The question is, as the storyteller sang of the eagle, did the hair on your skin start to rise? Did you feel feathers poke through your skin? Did you bristle with new white down? Did you grow wings? As the storyteller sings, do you grow wings? And
wow.
Yeah, to me, that just like,
whew,
that's what I think of that quote. I mean, God, I love Josh so much. Just everything he does is magical. But that is really, that quote is just the spirit that I try to invoke whenever I'm considering bird showing up in my life, or any animal really, or anything in nature, is like, not what does this symbolize? What's the symbol of this? But how can I almost embody this? How do I feel it? How do I become like a bird? How do I become like a tree? What do I change about myself to learn from this tree, from this bird, from this deer? How do I change myself to become? What does it feel like?
And how does the perspective shift on what I am dealing with right now and struggling to have answers to? I mean, I think about, the way that I clung to the owls, the horned owls that helped us this fall and into the winter. And they were just, they're like, they had no idea what was happening. Right. And I get so emotional right in that tree right there. They had no idea what was happening in this room right here and how much we needed just the universe to come together for some healing. And they sat steadfast and true, and they looked through the windows, and they didn't move away or stir when two cats jumped up on the perch right there to look at them. And they were just steadfast and true. And that it gave us the strength to stand firm and let miracles take place and let us be of service. So it's like you were mentioning the hawk. You can have a simple meditation where you're like, life is shit right now. This is awful. This is hard. I'm stuck in it. And you can take a moment and really try to come out of yourself and into the hawk that's soaring in the sky, looking for a mouse or rabbit to eat. And what would that feel like? And it just unburdens you for just a moment from the ties and tethers and the things that you're really desperately trying to create and do on the earth. And that perspective of like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And you get to fly free for a moment in your mind, at least. So they come with those gifts, and it's such unconditional love, that gift that they give us. And, that passage that Josh wrote for the Emerald podcast, it's like, that is maybe the most respectful way to be among nature, is to try to have the perspective of the things that we are so lucky to get to behold. So,
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that's, if you were talking about the hawk, so, hawk feather, and interesting, I probably should have tied this into the nuthatch, but so hawks and hawk feathers are often symbols that you're going to receive a message. I just talked about not calling them symbols, but the language.
Yeah.
I mean, we get it. We
do. We totally do.
Yeah. So, they can often bring other messages other than just expect a message, but often, especially in Native American traditions, the hawk is not just a bringer of messages, but also like, heads up, you're going to receive an important message.
Yeah.
Be paying attention. So right before the nuthatch, I'd been finding hawk feathers. And we have hawks are not uncommon here. But this is my first year ever finding hawk feathers just laying on the ground. And so when you can consider things like that too, where you find a hawk feather, then you have this experience with this other animal or this other bird. And for me, at least in that specific example, it was almost a confirmation, right? I'd been finding hawk feathers, and then I had this experience with this nuthatch, which sort of made me think I need to pay attention what the nuthatch is as a bird and what it can teach me. What's the message from the nuthatch? And in this case, it wasn't so much a message from hawk as hawk being like,
pay attention.
Pay attention.
Here's your flag. Here's your checkered flag. And what's so striking is the hawk's feather is bigger than the nuthatch itself. But it took the hawk feather to be the big flag of like, this seems like a tiny thing, but it's everything sometimes.
Yeah. So much to think about.
Yeah.
Also, if you find a feather, sorry to kind of jump around, but
I love it.
My brain kind of, I don't know, gets sparked by things. And but there's this thing you can do with feathers. It's called aura dusting. And you literally just use a feather. You don't touch your body, but you kind of imagine sweeping your aura, like literally getting the dust out of it. And you kind of just work your way through the whole body. And it's sort of it's a very calming practice. I don't know.
It is.
And you can
it's
use
calming
it with a
even
single
now.
feather.
Yeah.
You can also use it with kind of more of like a wand, all the feathers together. But yeah, you can do it with a single feather. Hawk
and now
feathers,
we've literally come full circle because it reminds me of the energy of the woodpecker, where the tap, 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 tapping kind of like shakes things loose, shakes things off of you that maybe aren't serving you anymore.
Oh, that's a great thought for me too, because that's a connection I hadn't really made of things kind of coming off of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just sloughing off, shaking loose. Well, that was pretty amazing. I feel all happy, goosebumpy, and now I want to go out and just like lay in the grass and throw my seeds out. See, Jesse, didn't that change your energy?
I told you would be all into birds after we did this podcast.
I love birds. I do. Right? Like a year ago, almost exactly, I was sitting watching the birds, and I used to be really afraid of the birds. I think I bought into Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds a little too much as a little girl. And my mother's from Chicago and hates all animals. So I was like, that's not me. I love animals. But I was sitting at my back table and I was drinking coffee and I went, what is that? That's a new bird for me. It's not a hawk. That's a falcon. And I got the binoculars out because my husband had put them on the dining room table and I'm looking at it and I'm drawing it. And I went, this is unique. And I looked it up. It's like a peregrine falcon. And I'm like, am I crazy? Because they had been obliterated in a lot of Colorado because of all the chemicals that people were spraying their crops with. So it softens the outside of the egg so that the egg cannot go to maturity, right? And I'm like, am I going crazy? This was a peregrine falcon that I saw. Sure enough, like a week later, I'm on Twitter and Jefferson County was saying, we have had sightings of peregrine falcons. They're back, baby. They're back.
Jen, you need to watch this documentary called Jurassic Park, and you'll learn all about that.
Jen, that story reminds me of just like to say, if you want to honor the birds, the best way, hands down, the best way you can do it is simply by taking care of the environment. Like truly, I know it doesn't sound mystical, it's not ritualistic, but it's literally like clean up your fishing crap. Like the birds are strangled by fishing wire and like have their limbs amputated because they get fishing wire or they get the hooks stuck in their bills or whatever. You've got yeah, don't use pesticides.
Yeah.
Keep the waterways clean. Don't feed the birds at the park bread. It's not good for them. They
No.
develop wing deformities, like do these small things. Like the best way we can honor animals and nature and earth, and like your spiritual practice means nothing if you're not doing the real work in the material world to caretake our
Yeah.
fellow creatures. You know what I mean?
I mean, my
You,
guides said very early on, they said, you all can do parlor tricks. Do you want to do parlor tricks? You all can do that shit. But it's the magic in the mundane. And that
Mhm.
means if you're on like, as Madia is saying, it's so profound. It's everything. It's like the nuthatch and the giant hawk feather. It's the big, look at me, look at me. I seem small, but I'm everything. You're on a hiking trail. Sure, you didn't put that plastic bag with dog poop in it, but if you have a space in your backpack, pick it up and put it in there because we are all stewards of the planet. All of
Yeah.
us. They're relying on us. I mean, yeah, it's magic in the mundane.
Madia, real quick, when you got into the woo stuff, what was something that what was a woo rule that like you heard that you found not to resonate with you?
A woo rule. Oh gosh, say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, right. Woo
I'm,
rule.
I'm gonna drool if I say woo
Woo
rule too
rule.
much.
Oh, that is a good question. Let me think.
Like Jen, what was the one that we
Oh,
were talking about last week?
like you
The
can't buy your well, one I unearthed
we talked
yesterday
about
was
one
you
last
can't buy
night.
your own tarot deck. Like I had heard that rule and I went, "Oh, really? They have to be gifted to you. You can't buy your own
Oh, that's
tarot deck." And I'm like,
interesting.
"Freak that rule. That isn't a rule. It's not real."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, anything like that where like people are, like you light a candle and all your problems go away, stuff like that.
I mean, I think a lot of stuff like that I never really took that seriously to begin with.
Good.
And honestly, I don't know that I'm even aware of a lot of the
That's good too.
rules.
I think that's really healthy. What
I
we're
do
we're
too.
we're kind of making a list of like things that like people talk about online and stuff all the
Yep.
time
Oh yeah.
that they
Like if you
they throw out as gospel, but but like, okay,
but we have to
why?
look at it and go, why? It's like,
Why? Yeah.
if something bad or dark happens to you, you like attracted it to yourself. It's like,
Oh.
what? That's
Hmm.
not real. That is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
true.
yeah. That's a great question, and I'll have to think on it because I don't have an
Yeah.
immediate
That's cool.
answer.
Yeah,
But if I think
yeah.
of it, I'll shoot you guys a message.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's not a pop quiz. We're just kind of polling everybody at the end of the podcast and going like,
Yeah.
hey,
Is
like
there anything that you
is
want to
there's
unbreak a rule that's out
yeah,
there?
is there
Mm.
Yeah.
something that just you were just like always that like everybody's like, oh yeah, do that, this is a thing, and you're like, I don't think that's a thing.
I mean, I almost want to say there's so many things like that that I just kind of I'm like, no, I don't. That
I
seems.
think I think I like the way you come at things though,
I do
because
too.
I feel like you you took the experiences of and like finding the egg and stuff, and
Yeah.
like you built what you believe. We got into the bird-o-mancy and everything
Yeah.
off of that. So I don't know if you're is in tune with all the
The
noise I
noise.
think that gets pushed
Yep.
around.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great thing.
yeah. I don't know. You were talking about the magic and the mundane, and I really resonate with that. I think that it's just the small things we do every day that's so important to the spiritual life. And so to me, it's not so much about rituals or superstitions or like doing this or doing that or having rules about what to do. It's simply being so present in your life that everything you do can be ritual. Like it's
Wow.
it's so much the intention, right? It's the
Yeah.
intention with which I do things. It's where I focus my where do I focus my attention, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I will, and I do tend to get turned off very quickly with things that start to put people in boxes, right?
Same. Yeah.
And, I mentioned I was into human design for a while, and I even did some coaching around it. But, I kind of let it go because in that world, people just get so attached to their archetypes. And the whole point of human design was differentiation and like not being defined,
Yeah.
and
Right.
and then also like the founder of it, I always have, there's something about him that intuitively I don't like, and it reminds me a little bit of Bikram yoga, that there's nothing out there that says he's a bad person. And I'll say, like, I'm not accusing him of anything, but there's
Yeah,
something
sure.
about
Of course.
the fact that he took this name, Ra-Uru, where his, like, I always get a little suspicious when someone makes their own name up, following like a spiritual, like,
Right.
channel
Yeah.
awakening session thing. And there's so much that's useful in human design. And
Like when
for
you
me,
give
it really
yourself,
started
when
a
you
lot
give
of
yourself that dopey, yeah, everybody referred to me as this, it's like, you can't give yourself your own nickname, bro. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
you
there's
can't give
something that just
yourself your own
doesn't sit
title.
well with me with
Same.
that. And it never has. And I kind of overlooked it for a while because there was so much usefulness I found within the human design system, and I kind of understood how it worked. And but after a while, I was just like, you know what? Like, it feels the same as, like, I can never do Bikram yoga again. I loved that. It's a great class.
Yeah, and
but
I don't,
I
and
can't
I'm
do
not
it,
accusing
Yeah.
anybody of anything because I
I
don't know
resonate with
about
that.
any of either one of those things. But like, that's when in my brain, that's when it starts to like, is this a cult?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
That's
where my
when,
boundaries go up too. Yeah.
is this a Ranieri thing? I don't
Well,
know. Yeah,
and maybe it's less nefarious than that. I feel like
I'm
with
sure it is,
human
but
design or
you know,
Bikram yoga, I feel like somebody decided there's profit in it. And so all of a sudden it was dollar signs. And it, to me, it's like, so let's make it overly complicated so that you can package it up and sell it versus it's a gift for everybody to level
and
up.
I think it's more that it's the monetization of a thing that I think ultimately corrupts a thing like that,
Exactly. We have to let Madia go, Jesse.
I
I
Madia
know.
has
you
a
guys
life.
forever.
I know that's how I feel too, but I'm like, oh, we have to be respectful. You'll just have to come back.
Oh, well, I would love to anytime. We can
You're
do
welcome.
Birds Part
Anytime.
2 or whatever.
I know Jen, we learned so much today.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
so excited to commune with nature right now. I actually want to go out and try to find some garbage on the trail.
Just don't call this Part 1 or there won't be a Part 2.
That's right.
You can't.
Exactly. This is we did
That's
this.
our
It's
new rule.
never happening ever again. So yeah.
Well, we love you and thank you for coming by for a really long form visit. And really, we cannot wait to have you back already.
Yeah, this was
Thank
awesome.
you so much. Yeah,
Have
we
the
love
best
talking with you
day.
guys. Oh, you too. Thank you.
Love you so much.
Bye,
Bye.
Madia.
Bye.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you looking for a new podcast that appeals to your scientific curiosity, but is also a little bit spooky?
Show me how I died in a past life.
Well, look no further, because this cat is where it's at.
He had concerns about the ethics surrounding AI, feeling they had achieved consciousness.
Curious Cat Podcast examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. Listen every week with your host, Jennifer Holtz, as she and her guests explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit.
We were healing karma together. They were all kind of predestined to resolve something.
Listen on all your favorite streaming apps and continue the conversation on Twitter at CuriousCatPodCA, or find Jennifer and all her links at Jennifer L. Hotz, spelled HOTES.com.